Welcome. This is part two of the Poor Bastard series. And in today's video, um, we're going to be relating a story that occurred to, matter of fact, this is the second thing that occurred to the individual in the office incident there, part one. Well, anyways, it was January 1988, and the woman he was seeing, um, dating, um, it was her birthday coming up. I think it was that day or the day after, whatever, that weekend. And she was like, I want some, a little cannabis, right? Little cannabis. So he was like, oh, I know a place. It's just where I work, a couple blocks on the other away. They're always dealing cannabis over there. So they went over to pick up some cannabis. And unbeknownst to them, that it was a sting operation that night. It was a Friday night, a matter of fact. And the next thing they knew it, they had about, I don't know, maybe 20 guns with screaming people with the guns pressed against, right up to the windshield, that kind of thing. Right. So they ended up taking a ride with a whole bunch of other people in the van. I mean, they had the van running all night, basically, as long as that sting was going. Um, and most people, all they wanted was a little cannabis for a Friday night to chill. I mean, that was the reality. People were all crammed in the jail cell, like sardines. Very few people, I think, were there to look for cocaine or crack. Now, this obviously, there may have been people in this particular neighborhood that maybe didn't like the dealing that was going on. And the alderman had to deal with it, and probably worked with the community police, and also they had relationships, of course, with the newspapers. The newspapers are always looking to get stories from aldermen of a city and stuff like that. So there was the sting that went down, and yeah, the guy was going to inhale. I mean, he wasn't saying, "Well, I'm just innocent. I was just bringing." No, I mean, the reality is, yeah, when they bought it, they would inhale. I mean, that's the truth. Did he have a drug problem? No, he didn't. He never did cannabis. That was the last thing on his mind. Was cannabis that day? Okay, or it's the last thing in his mind. I should say most days. And as far as cocaine and crack, let's face it, in the 80s and 90s in the business world, if especially people that are, more of the mover, the shaker, the developer, the big real estater. I mean, you're going to get exposed. You would have gotten exposed to cocaine. That's just the reality. Now, not everybody tries it when the exposure happens, but this person tried it on two separate occasions. And both times they were like, people ruin their lives for this crap. I mean, they just didn't like it at all. All right? And they're fortunate because they don't have an addictive personality. And so, but for somebody else, all it takes is once or twice. Okay? Cocaine and crack, two separate things compared to cannabis. And we're going to get to the crux of this story because a newspaper article was written, of course, about this sting, and it was going to make, of course, the alderman look good because, in such and such location, all, and the article was written in such a way. There was two names in the article, and there was at least 100 people that got busted, right, in the sting, but there were two names. The first name was, let's just pick a name, Carlos Jones, okay, 23, attempted to purchase crack or cocaine or whatever. Okay. I can't quite remember how the article was written. And then the next name because it kind of led the story. It was slanting the story. It was making the reader believe that this was about cocaine or crack or, drugs that people just, let's face it, most people would rather not see it on the street. And anything that you're doing about it is going to make you look really good. But now we get to the second name, and it's like, out of 100 people, why did they pick his name? Why was his name put in after the lead-in, making the reader believe that the sting was really about cocaine? So that was quite a freak out for this individual. And needless to say, it didn't make him look all that good, did it? I mean, it would have been bad enough if his name was in the paper trying to get a little cannabis. But the way that article was slanted. So he's changed quite a bit, I can tell you. Age and experience, and also realizing a lot of things. I can guarantee you the day that they read that article, they would have hunted, and I don't mean to intimidate, but they would have found out exactly who and where, and they definitely would have contacted an attorney. And they would have contacted these people and demanded a retraction or a correction immediately. They didn't do it. And what's interesting about this, because it was it's a total bullshit thing. Friday night, girlfriend wants a little cannabis, it's her birthday, oh, we know, you're right? So they go over, right? And it turns into what? The guy's name is in the paper? I mean, poor bastard. Now that situation was so screwed up that it got expunged and removed from their record without them even knowing that it was done. In other words, somebody did them a favor because they looked at it and they go, man, this is screwed up. He didn't even know they did it. Until maybe 7 or 8 years later or something. Didn't even know they did it. Amazing story. So anyways, big hit on the character again. Now, oh my God, he hit a whatever, okay? Let's just say woman. Let's use that, because that would be just totally. Whew. Boy, that does a job. And then in the paper, slanted in such a way to lead the readers to believe that everybody was down there for cocaine, when in reality, most people were there for cannabis. And you know what? In the Alderman's district, I don't think a lot of people would have appreciated a bust of a cannabis location. Because cannabis, like I said, is just not in the same level. And plus, a lot of people did it. A lot of his constituents did it. But when it came to the crack and the cocaine and stuff like that, that was a no-brainer for a politician. And that's the way the story had to be written. Okay? So, do you blame anybody? But again, why pick names? And then only 2 names? And then why the second name, who happened to be our poor bastard? Why? You should have asked a lot of questions, shouldn't you? And he should have taken some action. Again, to do what? Protect your character and your reputation. Anyways, have yourself a good day. Hope you learned something.